Welcome back to the Chronicles of the King podcast, where we take a deep dive into the life and legacy of Elvis Presley. I'm Megan.
And I'm Tessa, and we are two 20-something Elvis fans dedicated to keeping his legacy alive with a research-based approach.
Whether you're a die-hard Elvis fan or simply curious about a man who changed the course of music and culture, you're in the right place.
We are here to unpack the myths, explore the music, and get to the heart of Elvis's enduring impact.
Every other week, we'll bring you research, untold stories, and fresh perspectives on Elvis's journey. From his humble beginnings to his legendary performances, we're here to shed light on it all.
So settle in for a podcast made with a lot of TLC for the man himself, one story at a time.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. We got a solo episode this time. It's just us. And we thought we would talk a little bit about Elvis and Priscilla. We're going to try to make this more of a deep dive and not so much just a recap of her life with Elvis and kind of after Elvis. So we'll stop here and there along the journey to, I think, cover some hot topic questions or hot topic issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to preface that as Elvis fans, I don't know, I think Megan and I both feel pretty strongly about giving people grace in the Elvis world.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we talk about Priscilla, it's difficult to do so. Some people have really, really hot takes and hate someone that they've never met. And, you know, it seems to be a hot topic. Specifically, the women, I think, in his life get a lot of hate. And so this is definitely more of a deep dive episode. We both have opinions about her, and like neither of us are haters. Like we're not
No.
Not at all, but we do, we can critique her the same way we can critique things Elvis has done. So and it's all from an outside perspective anyway. So I just thought it's important because sometimes you might like see a title of something that says like episode about Priscilla and you think we'll be like A, fawning over her, or B, like hating on her. Yeah. This is kind of a C of like just giving, whether you like her or not, right? She's so important. She's the only woman Elvis ever married, the mother of his only child. Like you can't have the story of Elvis without having Priscilla. So it's important to talk about her. And especially on the heels of her new book, she's kind of on everyone's mind, I think. So,
So like we said, it's going to be maybe for people controversial to do this, but we're trying to take like the middle ground. We're not playing to either side of the discussion. We're just presenting the facts, presenting the information, and that's it.
Yeah. So Priscilla's life, let's talk about Priscilla's life, because her story of her life, like prior to meeting Elvis, is pretty crazy. She was born May 24th, 1945 in Brooklyn, New York, to parents Ann Iverson and James Wagner. She was in a military family, and her real father, so James Wagner, died in a plane accident, I believe. He was in the Air Force. And she didn't know until she was older that her father, who she thought was her father, was actually her stepfather. So what's his name? Paul Bullion?
Yes.
Bullion? I don't know how to say it.
I love the French accent.
I know. Bullion.
There we go.
So being raised in this family she was raised with her mother, Anne, and then Paul Bullion, who she knew of as her father. And she was one of 6 children. So
lots.
Was she the oldest? She had to be. I was going to say
she was the oldest. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's too much. Well, obviously, like she did learn about her biological father later in life, and then the next biggest moment, I guess, is the family's move to Germany, and so she was 14, I guess, the time. I think she moved there right away, right before she met Elvis.
Yeah, it was shortly before, I believe.
Shortly before. So she was like 14 years old, uprooted from the United States, going with her family over to Germany where she didn't know anybody. And she was at one of like the clubs, like not clubs, guys, like a social.
It's like an Air Force on base.
Yeah.
Like, in the Priscilla movie, it's kind of like a milkshake joint. And I suppose
a soda shop, if you shall.
Yeah, it's like a soda shop.
Yeah.
I think in And so in my head, that's how I picture it. I don't know if that's exactly
That's
what
how
it
I picture
was.
it. It's just a place for
Yeah.
people to gather and meet other service people. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, there she runs into this man, Cary Grant. Cary Grant famously asks her, "Are you an Elvis fan?" She's like, "Duh," and
Who
we're
isn't?
paraphrasing here because you all know most of the facts, so we're just going through. We're
Right.
girl paraphrasing. She's
Right.
like, "Duh, of course. Like, I love Elvis," and he's like, "You want to meet Elvis?" And then she's like, "Mm,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Why not?
Like,
Who
yeah,
would say no? Who would say
I
no in
wouldn't.
1959? Not I.
No,
So, and
I
so
can't
she,
bark like Tessa. I just meow.
oh
I'm
my gosh,
sorry.
goodbye. So between September 13th, 1959, which is their
Mm,
first meeting, to
yep.
March 2nd, 1960, when Elvis left Germany to return to the United States, Priscilla saw Elvis many
Hmm.
times at his house in Bad Nauheim? Newheim?
Don't even
Nauheim?
ask me. I
I
couldn't
think
spell
it's
it right for
Nauheim.
my note sheet.
Nauheim.
How you say it?
Because it's Nauheim.
Well, if you're looking at the note sheet, I didn't even spell it right
I
because I
know.
didn't
I
know how to
just
spell it.
ignored that.
Yeah. Okay,
um,
good.
so she ended up going over to the house a bunch of times. How she describes it in her book as a friendship developed between them. Elvis had
Yeah.
lost his mother shortly before that, the year
Hmm.
before, and he was in a very vulnerable state of not sure if his career would be back when he went back to the
Hmm.
United States. He didn't know if the teens would still like him. He's
Hmm.
mourning the loss of his mother. She's unsettled in Germany because she moved from, the US, and she didn't know anyone and she didn't want to go. Um, and one of the main like facets of this early relationship is that
Hmm.
it was very difficult for Priscilla, who was in school and 14, to
Hmm.
focus in school.
Or just like on a normal life, really.
Right.
Like a
Like
normal 14-year-old life.
right. So in this quotation from Priscilla's book, Elvis and Me, which came out in 1980, she says, "The next day in school, I couldn't concentrate. My thoughts were entirely on Elvis. I tried to recall every word he'd said to me, every song he'd sung, every look in his eyes as he gazed at me. I went over and over our conversation. His charm was captivating. I told no one. Who would ever believe that just the night before I'd been with Elvis Presley?"
Hmm. Well, could you
So
imagine?
yeah, like that's crazy. as
I
a as a
mean,
fangirl in my early teens, and to this day
studio's
obviously, but
perspective. Hmm.
I do think that part of it, like a lot is made about the age gap.
Hmm.
I think part of that is it was a different time. um People had bigger age gaps then. Women couldn't really do anything for themselves, so they kind of were encouraged to marry early. So that was
Yeah.
part of the culture. Priscilla has also been parentified her whole life. She's the oldest of six children. So I'm
Hmm.
sure, I think she describes in her book that she's like, I was so mature. I don't know if she was,
Yeah.
but she was probably like head on her shoulders type of kid. But
Yeah.
as a fangirl in that time,
Hmm.
age 14, if like anyone I was a fan of asked me to do anything, I would have done it. They said jump, I would have said how high. Like I would have done it. So I
Hmm.
cannot fault her for any of this. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people think that she was trying to manipulate Elvis into liking her. And
Yeah.
take from that what you will, but there's a book called Child Bride by Susan Finstad that's very
Hmm.
heavy on that concept that a young Priscilla kind of groomed Elvis, um,
Hmm.
and that herself and her mother had set everything up in order to like get her to marry Elvis. I don't know about all that
Yeah,
chief,
as a
but
14-year-old, I don't think you have that capacity to
of
think.
manipulation.
Yeah.
Like I don't agree with everything she's ever done, but that's I just don't think an accurate perception of a
No,
14-year-old's abilities with one of the most famous men in the
exactly.
world. I think he, liked her, and that's how it was.
That was
Anyway.
just it, you know. But
Right.
obviously, you know, can't forget about Elvis. And as like a 14-year-old and you're like friends, I guess, maybe a little bit more with Elvis.
Yeah.
And you just keep thinking like, oh my gosh, like, is he gonna forget about me? Is he gonna move
Right.
on?
And
And
when
that
he
was like,
leaves Germany,
yeah,
it's like she basically thought, I'm never going to see him again. So,
exactly. Like he got on that plane, he's going back to the United States. He's surrounded by
right.
all these stars, beautiful women, older women, and she's like devastated. And in Elvis and Me, she said, for the next 2 days, I locked myself in my room, unable to eat, unable to sleep. Finally, my mother said, this isn't going to help. Moping around, moping around isn't going to bring him back. He's gone. He's gone. He'll be getting into his new life, and so should you.
And
Which
part
is,
of
yeah,
Priscilla's fears were not unfounded. I mean, he
no.
went back and he was back. Elvis was back. Like,
Oh, yeah.
when she met him, he was in a very
Mm-hmm.
different space, I think, mentally than he was when he returned from the army. And then when
Mm-hmm.
he had, the Frank Sinatra special and he had all this success from his
Mm-hmm.
return, um, he was dating women out in Hollywood who were, not
Yeah.
14. And,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she was out of bounds for being concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But, her
Or
mother, I
especially,
will say, I think her mother was right in this one. Like,
yeah. And he's like, it's not gonna do anything.
yeah.
Go on,
So,
try to live a regular life. And I was gonna say, I don't think it helped when you go to Graceland, you see the video of Elvis doing the press conference in the
mhm.
off in Vernon's office at Graceland. I don't think it necessarily helped Priscilla's feelings when she probably saw that and the reporters were being like, "Oh, what about the girl you left behind?" And he's like, "Oh, it's nothing like that. It was no big
Yeah.
deal."
Yeah,
She was
he's
just
like,
like,
oh, I was seeing her, but, was no big romance or something.
"Exactly."
I
So
mean,
that didn't help.
yeah, it's just, I just can't imagine like going through that. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know, the public perception of her at this time and him, I think, is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's this particular article that's quoted a lot, which I think we should talk about. So this is from
Yep.
Life magazine, March 14th, 1960. And it
Mm-hmm.
says, behind him at Ray Barracks near Friedberg, Elvis had left hordes of palpitating Fraulines and the pretty 16-year-old Priscilla Beaulieu, daughter of an Air Force captain stationed in Wiesbaden. Elvis kissed her before he flew to the aid of the girls back home, sorrowful at parting, but anxious to get into his bright colored pants and back to his hip swinging singing. So, this is an interesting quotation because it
Yeah.
refers to Priscilla as being 16. Um,
Hot topic.
some people, such as the Susan Finstad kind of clan
Mm-hmm.
of thought, I'll say that's a school of thought, um,
Yes.
believe that maybe Priscilla lied about her age.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in this article, either the article got it confused, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
other side. I'd say the article got it confused.
Yeah.
She never said that. The other side is saying that she lied about her age the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, for my opinion, if she did lie about her age, I don't blame her. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
think that's a manipulation tactic. I mean, when I
Yeah.
was 14, I lied about my age to get my ears pierced. So, like, if I would also lie about my age to have a, like, some kind of relationship with Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So I
Like
can't.
think of all the times modern day that people, teenagers, lie about their age to go do certain
Right.
things.
To go see a
It's
movie, like, you'd do it for
exactly.
less. You would do it for less.
Yes. This was
So,
Elvis.
right.
So,
Like, so I will say, if she did lie about her age,
mm,
I can't blame her for that. I
yeah.
don't know if it was a grand manipulation tactic,
Hmm.
but if she didn't, you know, that's a different
Yeah.
thing. But
And this isn't the only article that's ever referred to her as 16. There
Mhm.
was multiple articles done about her the time, like 1960, March 1960, when Elvis left. And they always quote her like saying that she is, well, not her saying that she's 16, but they always say, okay, 16-year-old Priscilla. And that's how they say
Right.
it. They don't say that she's 14. So I don't know if they
Yeah.
were assuming if they got that information from her.
Yeah.
We would have to really
Like,
deep dive there to get that information. But I think within the inner circle, everybody who was there at the time either knew that she was 14 or they've
Right.
never said anything to
Otherwise.
discredit that. Yeah,
Right.
because this is from Joe Esposito's book, I believe, talking about Priscilla. Priscilla didn't look as young as 14, but no more than 16. She
Right.
was pretty, she was pretty smart too, but naturally she didn't say much that night. She was very quiet, very nervous, and clearly felt out of place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like maybe there was just a mix up with the newspapers. They just maybe assumed.
Yeah. Or
If
she
not,
lied, like, whatever.
whatever. Like I
People
don't
make
blame
it
you.
into a whole huge big thing, and like, this is,
Yeah.
I'm not her biggest fan, but that is not something I'm gonna like fault her for,
No,
because also
because
she was the teenager in that situation,
yeah.
so it's fine. um so some like life with Elvis. So the next kind of
Mm-hmm.
chapter comes when in 1962, a little bit, right, when she moves to
Mm-hmm.
Memphis. So
Yep.
Priscilla moves to Memphis to finish out like literally like the last 3 or 4 months of high school after convincing
Mm-hmm.
her
Well,
parents, which
that'd be
like,
1963. I'll get
yeah, okay.
technical. Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
1963. Okay.
Yeah.
So she moves in 1963. At this point, she's what, literally
Mm-hmm.
like 2 months from being 18 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
she's, you know, and her parents somehow allow her to move to Memphis to live with Elvis's parents,
And
um, with Vernon
Brennan
and
and
Dee
D.
on Dolan Street, right next door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, finished out high school there. Okay. My hot take on this is, what parent
Oh,
does that?
I
What parent
know.
does that?
My
Also,
parents would have been like, mm-mm.
her parents allowing her to hang out with
Mm-hmm.
Elvis when she was 14, like, I don't blame her for that. I don't really blame him for that.
No,
I blame them, because what are you
they were the
doing?
most adult in this situation. And
Like,
we're
what are
gonna,
you doing? Why are
I
you allowing
mean,
your like teenage daughter to move to Memphis to finish high
with
school?
the rock and roll star. Mm,
Right. Like, okay. And then there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that Elvis like
yeah.
had sort of insinuated that he would marry her, and
Mm,
her parents were like taking like bribe money or something. So I don't know. There's like a whole
mm-hmm.
conspiracy theory that her parents are involved in basically like trying to blackmail Elvis into getting
Yeah.
her to be his future wife. But anyway, that all happened. She finishes high school
Mm-hmm.
in Memphis, and then she's living in Memphis, and Elvis is out filming the movies in Hollywood. She generally like didn't go out there. There's the
Yeah.
big Anne Margaret of it all. What
Mm-hmm.
year is that? 65, 66?
60, 63, 64, I think.
For Viva
In
Las
Las
Vegas?
Vegas.
I think
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's that
I
early?
know. I
Okay.
always think
I always
I
think
can do
it's
some quick
65.
fact checking. I always do too, but I don't think it is. Viva Las Vegas. I will 1964.
64. Okay.
Yep.
So, and Elvis is pretty much like have in a full blown relationship with Aunt Margaret.
And
There's that whole drama of
mm-hmm.
Priscilla is stuck in Memphis, like doing what? And he's with Aunt Margaret. I think personally at that point, she should have just let that go and been like, you know, good couple of years. We had a good run.
Oh, and just like left.
Yeah, like,
Like bye. Kind of
yeah,
like
because
I
she
guess
deserves better
like an
than that. And I
Anita
think,
situation.
yeah, like all right, if you want to go do something else, go do something else.
Yeah.
Like, and also like him and Aunt Margaret, I think were a really good
Mm.
fit. So I think that,
He's
you
on
know,
the Anne Margaret bandwagon.
I think also
Yeah.
Priscilla like deserved better than to be sitting at home like waiting
Yeah.
for him to come and seeing
Mm-hmm.
him with this, mega movie star on the cover of
Mm-hmm.
magazines, like cradling each other. I would have been crashing
Like,
out.
oh,
So
100%.
like I think at that point she had to woman up and be like bye and find, I don't know,
Mm.
someone else. But that all happens, and they
She's
still get
stuck in there.
married. They still get married. So,
Yes.
very famously,
Mm-hmm.
Priscilla and Elvis get married on May 1st, 1967.
Woo, at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I guess this is kind of like where we start to do a little more deep dive because
Mm-hmm.
like everybody knows like the whole story behind the wedding, blah 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 blah. But we had some questions that I feel like a lot of people ask. And one question was, did Elvis really want to marry Priscilla? Because that's kind of like what Tessa was getting into. It's like, did the parents pressure him? Did the colonel pressure him? All this stuff. And the first quote we have is from Priscilla, actually, in Ladies' Home Journal that she did in 1973.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like her talking about like her and Elvis together. And then she said, although at the time Elvis, this is the
The
journalist,
magazine. Yeah.
the magazine. Although at the time Elvis and Priscilla never talked of marriage, Priscilla, or Scylla as Elvis called her, never felt awkward about the situation. First of all, Elvis would not have asked me to coming over to the States if there wasn't a reason. I believe that he cared for me and that he wouldn't have taken the responsibility of pulling me out of school and putting me into another life if he wasn't making some commitment. Talking about
Right.
the ultimate marriage.
And, then
So,
she goes on to say that although many people thought our wedding was sudden, Elvis and I had been talking about it in stages. She recalled that his proposal was unceremonious. So the proposal occurred like December 1966,
yep.
around Christmas time. Carrying on from Ladies' Home Journal, Priscilla says, one day he showed me the ring and simply asked me to marry him. Sensitive to some confusion on my part, she stresses sweetly. Even though we were perfectly content the way we were, at that time it wasn't nice for people to live together. I do think it's really interesting that they
Mm-hmm.
lived together for that whole time without getting
Oh,
married.
1963 to, I
Till
guess, May.
1966, or they
Yeah.
weren't engaged. Like, that is
Yeah.
not,
But even
that's
that
not
would have been like a faux
typical.
pas back in the 60s. Just,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, they were just
So,
living together.
and that's why sometimes I'm like, like they did, like, and I think modern day Priscilla talks about this. She was like, we like the arrangement. Like, we weren't married, but we were technically living together.
Yeah.
And we didn't feel the need to get married if that could continue. But I guess
Yeah.
the overall image was a pressure and it wouldn't look good if, like, and again, this is the context of the 60s, if Elvis was
Yeah.
just living with this woman.
Right.
Obviously, this happened today. We all wouldn't care, but this was against the
I
1960s.
still would be like, that many years, no ring, girl. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you would
if
think
that's my
that.
bestie, I would be like, sis, like, you can't be living with this man for that many years and he hasn't given you a ring yet. Come on.
Mm,
I will
which,
say
not
I think it can like lead to
question.
that. Yeah.
When did they make the adult age 18 and not 21?
Oh, that's a
That is
good
just something that,
question.
because that is
Let's
another,
find out.
yeah, thank you. Because obviously, 21, Elvis had to have his parents signing his RCA contract because he was not 21. Um, I don't know when they
It
changed
only
it to
changed in
18.
1971
Okay, so she wasn't technically legally an adult till May of that year.
till she was 21. Oh, that's kind of interesting too. Okay,
Actually,
just then
no, she was 21, 1966.
65. Oh, 66, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting fact. I'm sorry, that just sprang into my head.
yeah, it's like, did he wait for her to be an adult or what's up? Even
Yeah, I
though
mean, because people got
in
married as
Tennessee,
early.
they didn't care. They didn't care at all.
Well,
You could
yeah,
cross the border into Arkansas, pull a Jerry Lee, like
yeah,
marry your
Mississippi,
13-year-old cousin. They did not care.
Oh.
So it's true. So that is interesting that like I think
Yeah.
part of it, like the living together so long,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that's an excellent point about it. Like maybe he was waiting for her to be like an adult,
An adult.
or like a legal adult, not necessarily like
Exactly, because I don't know. I mean, obviously, back in the day, you could get married as early as 16 in some states. I don't know
I
if you would
think
need
earlier, but
earlier. Well,
with your parents'
that
consent,
is right. Yeah.
with
So
your
would you
parents'
need parent
consent,
consent before
yeah,
21?
maybe.
maybe, and maybe that's why we'll have to look further into the legality
Wow,
of
this just
things.
got into a good like little side topic,
I
but
know.
I think that sort of to me it feels like, man, like he was kind of he was like, what do they say, shit or got off the pot. Like he was like waiting around, like,
Yeah,
none
he
of her
was
shut
in.
up. Like
Yeah,
it's
it
kind of
didn't seem
giving
like.
that he wasn't exuberant to propose or to marry her, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, to me, according to this article, the 1973 article,
Mm,
and even some of the things that Priscilla says today, it didn't seem like either one of them were necessarily in a rush to get married. They
right.
liked the setup as it was. Um, I think it was probably, if anything, maybe it came from pressure from the outside, be it
Yeah.
the colonel, be it her family. Um,
Right.
we
From
do
I was gonna say
have,
from Charlie Hodge says,
yeah.
so Charlie Hodge's book, Me and Elvis,
Mm-hmm.
he writes about Elvis sort of expressing apprehension about getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So, quotation, you know how much I love Priscilla, Elvis said. I didn't want to get married this soon, but I guess the colonel is right. Which this soon is crazy when it's been years.
Like 63 to 67.
It's
Do the
like,
math on that one.
yeah, that's a hot minute.
Yeah, it's a long
So
time. 4 years.
several of the Memphis Mafia members do kind of feel that there was some kind of external pressure for them to get married.
Mm-hmm.
From Good Rockin' Tonight, which is Joe Esposito's book, he says he'd been with Priscilla since she was barely 16. There had to have been some pressure from her family. Um,
Yeah. Because I
that's
mean,
definitely
again, I'm trying to think like the context back in the day. Like, why? Like, I don't feel like if they were just like, oh, yeah, we're just gonna live together and that it's just gonna be like that kind of situation, I don't think any parent would have been like, oh, yeah, go ahead,
right.
move over to the States without us. Um, I don't know. I feel like there had to been some kind of, yeah, one day we'll get married or something.
Which, like, knowing what I know about Elvis, I feel like if he said that, it was kind of like a, I don't know if it was truly sincere. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I
Yeah,
think
to,
he kind of, it was like almost like an empty promise to like get them to shut up or like get them to
hmm
let her go. I think Elvis
hmm
was very charming and very good with his,
yeah,
not, I don't want to say manipulation, but I will say like he
the
was
Riz.
very, yeah, breezy. Like he was really good with getting what
hmm
he wanted, and he
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of used to it.
hmm
He did it in a way that was charming and
Yep.
endearing, and so I'm sure, you know, he's trying to get her to come over. She's trying to go over, and I'm sure he says, like,
hmm
"Well, I'll marry her one day." Like
Yeah.
this is like the woman I want to be with, and he said that
hmm
in 1963, which was a very different
hmm
moment than even a year later when he's filming Viva Las Vegas, and then he's probably like, I don't really want to marry her, like,
Yeah.
So it's definitely a two-way street, I think.
I definitely agree with that. And besides her parents, I think a lot of the pressure came from the Colonel. Obviously, the Colonel was
Mm-hmm.
very obsessed with Elvis's public image. I mean, you could see that all the way back into like the 50s when he's like, go on was it Steve Allen
Mm-hmm.
with the hound dog? Like, go on there, wear some like coats and tails and
Right.
show them that like you're a
And don't
clean
be
cut
seen with
guy.
a girlfriend and
Exactly. And so this comes from Me and Elvis, Charlie Hodges' book, um, saying, well, before I got married, the Colonel said I'd, oh, wait, sorry. Yeah, that's the quote I want. Sorry.
yeah.
Just jumping around here, guys. Well, before I got married, the Colonel said I'd lose half my fans if they thought we were living here at Graceland together without
Mm-hmm.
being married. Now he says, and I'll probably lose half of them because we did get married. Elvis shook his head. I don't think it's very funny. He even said that Priscilla will hurt me in the box office.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Does
it's crazy
this?
how like because the internet was not a thing, like the
Mm,
dissemination of information was not as
yeah.
quick. Like you couldn't be like just spotted Priscilla leaving Graceland, like there was
Yeah.
no Twitter. They couldn't like
Mm.
share lifetime information. So
Exactly.
maybe people saw her and thought nothing of it. Like, you know,
I mean, like you read Donna's book, and obviously, like Priscilla was around a lot before they got married,
right.
and Donna didn't seem to like really think a whole lot about, oh, Priscilla's just like living at Graceland and
Right. Like, I don't know if they thought she lived there or if they just kind of thought she was around, like all the other people, all the
mm,
secretaries, all the girlfriends of
true.
Memphis Mafia members, cousins, all, like
Yeah,
friend, like a fan,
exactly.
like they didn't know who she was in a way that like we would probably know now, like
Like,
who
oh,
would put it together.
yeah.
um, so with Graceland, a part of that was like trying to balance
Mm-hmm.
normalcy with fame. And one of this is like a really interesting chapter, I think, in Elvis's life, and kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
off piste type of thing to me.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fixation he had. This So they bought this ranch in Mississippi, just over the river
Mm-hmm.
from Graceland, from Memphis, and they called it the Circle G Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis got like so into it, like hyper fixated,
Yeah.
obsessed. Every saddle, every trailer, like everyone is getting a
Mm-hmm.
horse. Like I think it's at this point he's very like so disillusioned with his movie career, and now he needed an outlet, and now get like super into the
Mm-hmm.
horses, like randomly. Like
It's like, okay,
yeah,
like, that was Priscilla's Christmas present, I think. What was it? December
yeah, Domino,
66?
right?
Domino, yeah.
Yeah, but Priscilla was really into horseback riding. And
Mm-hmm.
so at this ranch, they went there after their honeymoon, their famous honeymoon on Frank Sinatra's, jet and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or helicopter or whatever the heck it was. And
Oh, Jack.
yeah, it was a jet. Okay. And they
Mm-hmm.
ended up going there right after their honeymoon. And it was a very like husband and wife moment. Like
Yeah.
she explained about like cooking for him and how
Mm-hmm.
it felt more like a normal life at Circle G Ranch rather
Yep.
than at Graceland. And apparently she was traveling with him a little bit more and
Mm-hmm.
going, she was more present. Um,
We didn't have
and
to be
so
hidden, I guess, as much.
yeah, now that they were married,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it was big news and her face is everywhere, like it becomes a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as a wife and kind of like her role in the household, this is from Charlie Hodge's book, again, Me and Elvis. So he says, this Priscilla speaking, you fellows are welcome to come and eat with us, she told them one night after things in the kitchen started to get real disorganized, crowded up, and milling around and yelling. It was a scene. But don't anyone come back in the kitchen and place some order with our maid or cook, Priscilla said. This is a home. It's not a short order restaurant. The guys got the message.
Mm-hmm.
Priscilla was tough, cool. She could face you down if ever push came to shove. Like she's like
That
the
was,
head of a household, kind of.
yeah, like I think after they got married, she was be like, all right, this is my house now too. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna figure out where she fits in. Because I feel like a lot, Dodger was always kind of like the head of the household. And I think once they got married, like I said, that she was able to kind of move into that role a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find this interesting because it shows a little bit more of her personality. Like I feel
Right.
like sometimes they just talk about like the interactions that they had. And this was like, okay, she's taking charge. And I did find it very interesting because Priscilla is like tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that she was tough. She could face you down if ever push came to shove. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's a product of maybe the Elvis world.
And also, I think it kind of goes against this idea that she's someone
Mm-hmm.
who just always went along with everything or did everything that
Mm-hmm.
Elvis wanted her to do. Like she has her own mind and her own
Yeah.
ability to make her own decisions. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the decisions she made were ones she made. And
Yep.
this is like where some things get a little interesting. There was a lot of pressure of being Elvis's wife, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
media attention, a lot of expectations, rumors. She became a style icon. Her wedding dress, it's very,
Mm-hmm.
iconic and in the public eye. There were a lot of rumors
Yep.
about the relationship, like a kind of a strain, if his career had a
Mm-hmm.
strain on their relationship because
There
he
was
was away
always
so
those,
much.
what are those cases called? It's like, oh, like illegitimate children. What are those cases called?
Oh, paternity suits.
That's what it is. There was a lot of
Yeah.
those,
There was
which I
just
don't
a
think.
lot going on. And,
Mhm.
you know, especially when Elvis started touring more after 1968, when he was in Vegas, like 69, 70.
Yeah.
She was always wondering who he was with because he didn't like her to be there all the
Hmm.
time. Um, she has said that he wasn't interested in her sexually after Lisa Marie was born.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me because I think she's also
Hmm.
said that's not true, and has also said that she thought she was pregnant again after Lisa. So that to me is like
Hmm.
obviously like, you know,
There
they don't
was
come
a
from
quote, and
storks.
I
Like,
they didn't come from storks. Thank you.
you're
There was a
welcome.
quote I had from Joe Esposito's book, and now I'm trying to find it because I think I put it in a different spot.
Mm,
Talking about them going to Hawaii, and
mm,
I think this was 69, 69, 68, and Joe Esposito and his wife had the hut right next to Elvis and Priscilla, and
mm-hmm,
he's like, walls are paper thin. We could hear the argument clear as day. And the argument was about them not being intimate anymore after
mm-hmm.
Lisa was born. And I don't know, the guys always seem to confirm that Elvis had what I guess was like a Madonna thing. And I'm trying to find the quote now. Um, Talking that once like a woman had a kid, like Elvis didn't.
Except that's
And I'm
not
trying to,
always true because, like, there were
yeah.
plenty of women that he dated
Hmm.
that had had children. Like, isn't it the girl who was in the 68 special? I can't remember her name. The blonde woman.
I can't remember her name either, but I
Like,
found the
she had a
quotes.
kid, and there's other, so kind of grain of
Hmm.
salt. I'm very grain of salt with this one because I'm like, I
Yeah, I
think
am
that,
too.
there was, she said that
Hmm.
she thought she was pregnant after Lisa was born. They wanted
Hmm.
another kid. He wanted another kid. He wanted a boy. That, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. That one I'm like, I don't know about all that. But, I wasn't
I
there.
mean, it could be like another thing where it's like maybe Elvis would say things to be like,
Right.
this is my reasoning, and it's
Right.
just to put something out there. It could have been. I don't know. But I mean, just those were the words that Joe Esposito used in the reasoning, and him
Yeah.
saying that, oh, the guys all knew about it, but maybe it was just an excuse for times. I don't know.
Yeah. So our kind of next big chapter is becoming a mother. So
Yeah.
Priscilla became a mother in February 1st, right?
Yes.
1968, which is exactly
Hmm.
9 months after their wedding.
Hmm.
And Lisa Marie Presley was born. So while they were expecting, Elvis and Priscilla were very nervous. Um, she kind of, Priscilla in her book talks about not wanting to be a
Hmm.
mother so soon after
Hmm.
getting married. Like, she kind of wanted to enjoy married life for a bit. And this is definitely a hot topic.
Yes. Like I think you can get both sides of the story,
Yes.
from Priscilla's book and then from Lisa's book.
Yeah. So in Priscilla's book, she talks very much about, like, I didn't eat when I was pregnant. Like, I tried to
Hmm.
fall off my horse. Like, I did not want to have a baby so soon. And part of
Hmm.
that, I think, is, she wanted Elvis to herself, which I can't blame her for. But part of it also
Yeah.
is like, she was young. She didn't really want to be a
Hmm.
mother. But the problem with that is that Lisa grew up knowing that. Um, when you read
Which those
Lisa's
are
when you read
my
Lisa's book,
yeah.
it's like you hear how
Mhm.
painful that was for her to hear that her own mother didn't want her. And she talks about absorbing, like, the negative energy in utero of, like, I didn't feel wanted from the moment I was born because I
Mhm.
knew that, like, she didn't want me, and had tried to have an abortion, like, all of this kind of stuff that I think
Mhm.
if it wasn't in Elvis and me, that Lisa would have never had to know that. And also, it's not
Yeah.
something that necessarily I think, like, a mother needs to discuss with their child because the child can't help it
Agreed.
once they're here. You could say, I was really
Mhm.
nervous and I didn't know if I was ready to have a kid. but I'm really glad I did. I'm glad it was you. But I don't think it's like, is my opinion is that I just don't think it's right to share that with your child, because even if you don't feel that way anymore, I think it's inevitable that they're going to feel unwanted. If you tell them that you were not wanted when I was pregnant with you, it's like, well, so you never wanted me, and you could, it would give anyone a complex, I think.
I agree.
So that's my
but your hot take
opinions on that. Well, I don't know if it's a hot take. I think it's just like a parenting mishap, I would say. Like,
yeah, and
of even if you felt that way when you're in the public eye, in the way that Priscilla knew she was and still is in 1980, you don't need to write those words. Even if it's your truth, you have to think about how it's going to affect the people around you, especially your daughter, because it doesn't really add much to her story apart from something negative, if that makes sense. Like, it's not,
I agree,
not something, I'm sorry that she felt that way, but it's not something I think that's like necessarily needs to be in the public eye or something that Lisa needed to ever know.
Yeah, like some things we can save for ourselves. And that's it. Obviously, like that was the conversation, I guess, before Lisa Marie was born, and then afterwards, especially I think those first chapters of Softly as I Leave You, like that's kind of where the book starts. And so she talks a lot about, once Lisa was there, Elvis and Priscilla, they were both like ecstatic and they loved having her, and Elvis loved being a father. She was like the light of their life, the light of Graceland, if you want. And I think she got adjusted to the role of motherhood. Like she would state like these were like her priorities. Like yes, she still wanted to spend time, but I think once the relationship with Elvis was kind of like running its course, maybe weaning off, towards the end, she started to realize maybe like I need to prioritize like Lisa first and like prioritize like getting my life together, like having my freedoms. And I think that kind of leads us into our next chapter.
Yes, which is all about separation and life after divorce. So Priscilla and Elvis made the decision to separate in 1972, and it ended up getting a divorce in October 1973. So these are just some quotations about feelings and things that may have led to the separation and divorce. So this is a little bit about intimacy. So this is what you were talking about before from Joe Esposito's book. He says, through the thin wall separating our headboards, it was over his refusal to make love. Ever since I had Lisa, you don't want to touch me anymore, Priscilla cried. Elvis had a full-blown Madonna complex. I don't like to make love to somebody who's had a kid, he often told me. I don't feel comfortable doing it. We all knew about his complex before Priscilla had the baby and wondered what would happen after. So, like we said, that's one thing being said. There's some other things that refute this. It may have been, like you said, an excuse. It could have been other reasons that he didn't want to be intimate with her. But of course, Priscilla, and very rightfully so, if they were not being intimate, she definitely felt dejected about it. And that was a reason for their separation. Another hot take reason, which would you like to spill the beans?
Oh, our little documents.
Well, there's that. That could be the beans. I meant just that another reason for their divorce was that Priscilla was having an affair. Now, Elvis is no angel. Elvis is no angel. We're not pretending he is, but she was certainly having an affair. So
they both
this is also from This is also from Joe's book. He says, in 1971, the unbelievable happened. Priscilla left Elvis. We were playing Vegas when I received a phone call one night from Elvis's attorney, Ed Hookstratton. Joe, I want to let you know something, he said without any preamble. Priscilla is having an affair with her karate instructor, a guy named Mike Stone. Elvis never said anything to Priscilla, but a few months after Ed Hookstratton's call, Priscilla flew to Vegas to tell Elvis she was leaving him. She'd fallen in love with someone else. Priscilla later told me that a look of shock came over his face. He didn't become angry, but tears sprang to his eyes.
It makes me sad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course he wasn't. I think he lived in this world where he had like yes men all around him, and no one I think Elvis didn't really know how to be monogamous with anyone, no matter how much he loved them. I think he just always needed companionship and attention. And in any real relationship, you can't be with another person 24/7. So, but he needed someone 24/7. So if you were there like 12 of those hours, he needed someone for the other 12. And a lot of that, I think, was an insecurity, a sense of needing to be nurtured for whatever reason. But for him, I think being cheated on was like the biggest betrayal, because I don't think he saw like his way of his dalliances as being cheating. Whereas, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he saw it in that way. But with her, it's like he felt almost emasculated by the whole thing.
I was going to say,
someone he introduced her to. And so this is really like a whole mess.
Exactly. And you mentioned like yes men, and I think maybe he expected like Priscilla to always be that way. It's like no matter what I do, you'll always be there and you'll do what I need. And she just kind of said no and said that she was going to be leaving. And I think just not something that he expected. I think just like if one of the guys said, you know, I'm done, like I'm quitting, I think he would have been equally upset.
Right.
In a different way, maybe.
Like he, you know, she had sort of played into this yes man, yes woman idea. Not in a critique way, but just that, you know, she was a yes woman, basically. And then when she said no and also cheated on him, he was like, oh, like, well, that's a lot. So
I also found this quote from Joe Esposito a little interesting because it talks about like Elvis's attorney called and said, and basically he was the one who told them like, hey, Priscilla's seeing somebody else. And I just wonder about that. Like, was there like a
private investigator?
Put my tinfoil hat on or something. Like
there's definitely some kind of, I think Elvis maybe had a suspicion.
Whoa.
You know, I think
they had suspicious minds.
I think he had a suspicious mind, if you will.
Yeah, if you will.
Trying to find out.
Because, and we also, yes?
No, just that he was trying to find out what she was up to. You know?
And all the music references were
I know, right?
Look at us. We did also get some court documents. From through the grapevine, and these court documents are like the preliminary like hearings, so like their divorce settlement. And one of like pieces of these documents talks about kind of this instance where the attorney had called and said, hey, Priscilla's seeing somebody else. And in the documents, it said that Elvis did not confront her about this for like months and months and months until finally when they had the discussion. And then she was like, I'm leaving. I need my freedom. And I just can't do this anymore. I got to go find myself. What I find interesting if he did sit on it for that long.
Well, I think he probably was like to him, that was like also the worst thing someone could do to him. Like it was okay for him to do, but it was totally the worst thing for someone to do to him. So,
like you said, like emasculating you a little bit.
Absolutely. A part of the settlement too is people like think that he said that she couldn't use the Presley name. I don't know if it's in any of those documents, but I don't
send us the documents. We love
I don't
primary source.
I think he could have said that. I think he did. I believe he said it to Sonny, and he said it to other people that he didn't want her to use the Presley name. But legally, I don't think he has the right, or you're able to say you can't use that name.
Yeah, and maybe it was like stipulations if it does exist, like for business purposes or something.
Right.
Which I don't think she did. Biss and Bo at the same while Elvis was alive, and for that she did use like her maiden name.
Yeah, right.
Obviously. So, but if that court document's out there and somebody has like a little copy of it and they want to send it our way, please do.
Yeah. I do think it's
But
interesting that, you know, she is always referred to as still as his wife when they did divorce in his lifetime. It's definitely like an interesting thing to talk about, I
yeah.
think.
I mean,
Because
like
there's very much an image of like that
Mhm.
she was, you know, his widow, um, when they weren't really married
Mhm.
anymore. I mean, she is the only woman he married, but at that point
Yeah.
of his passing, you know, they were not together. So
But I think it would maybe be different if they never had kids together. Like if
yeah, I think so too.
that would be different. Which is also like people are like, oh, the Presley name. I understand her wanting to keep the Presley name because I mean, like if you have a kid, you usually want to keep the same last name as them, and I understand it in that way because that kind
Yeah.
of maybe sometimes is awkward. I don't know. Um, but those are just some of the hot topics, I guess. Another kind of like debated issue or something that's always talked about is like their divorce settlement. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we have this one, and it's kind of lengthy. A newspaper article from the time that they were getting divorced talking about their settlement. And the quote that we have here, and it's a long one. It says, "This man agreed to," talking about Elvis, "this man agreed to pay her this without any contest," said Harry Fane, one of Presley's attorneys, "because he wanted to be generous and make her happy. I never met a man so unselfish." Under the new pact, replaced an initial agreement to which Priscilla subsequently objected, Presley added 725,000 in cash and another 720,000 payable and 6,000 a month to discharge any further claims to community property, talking about, I guess, like houses, cars, whatever it be. Um, Originally, Fane said the pair agreed that he would give her 100,000 and a couple of cars, which you can see there are documents like available where you can see like I guess like the breakdown of like who got what property. Elvis maintained like house properties. She got like money and I think a couple cars.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, I continue. Also, Presley agreed that she shall have half the proceeds from the sale of Los Angeles home, as well as 5% of the stock in Elvis Presley Music and Whitehaven Music. She will also receive a 404,200 a month support payment for a year and 4,000 a month for the support and education of their 5-year-old daughter Lisa until the child becomes of age or marries. The couple agreed to joint legal custody of the daughter who will live with her mother. Priscilla Presley filed motion last May 29th to set aside her initial concurrences in the property settlement entered when he filed for dissolution of the 5-year marriage in August 1972. Until the modified agreement, she had sought to discover more about the extent of the singer's holdings, particularly music copyrights, master recordings, residuals, and royalties. And this was from, I believe, 1973 when they did get divorced. It was either 72 or
Um,
73.
Another one of these like big topics is
Mm-hmm.
would Elvis and Priscilla have gotten back together? Um,
Yes.
so Joe, once again, Joe's coming in hot in this book. So he says,
He
after the
dishes
breakup
all the
with
tea.
Linda, yeah. He says, after the breakup with Linda, Elvis had begun
Mm-hmm.
telephoning Priscilla more often. He told her he wanted to get back together and have a baby boy. Elvis may have been toying with her, trying to convince Priscilla to remarry him, at least so he could dump her as revenge for leaving him for another man. He was not just a male ego, but a Southern male ego, and a superstar Southern male ego to boot. Priscilla would have never remarried him anyway. And she said that like he wanted to get back together, and then she's also said he
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to get back together. And
Yeah.
so I don't know that he would have wanted to get back together because I think he would have been, even if he did, I think he would have been
Mm-hmm.
too scorned to ever like ask that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I think
I don't
maybe
think, yeah,
he wouldn't want to stoop that low or go to that level. He want to go like pleading, like to get back,
right. Like
if
I
that makes
think
sense.
he would have like had enough of a
Mm-hmm.
ego to not try to get back together.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also a little from our inside court documents that we
Mm-hmm.
got, there was like discussion, like, did they try to do like a reconciliation? Were there talks about
Right.
getting back together? And it sounded like early on the separation, like talking about the beginning of 1971, they're talking it through that maybe things would like blow over and they'd find their way back together. But then eventually, I guess she's off doing her stuff with Mike Stone, and she was like, "Nah, I kind of just want my freedom." And at that point, they're like, "You know what? It's just best." Like they both agreed that it would just be best to go both ways.
Had to go
So,
separate ways. Did you see
thank
me
you.
cooking that one?
I
You
could
could
see it.
see
I could
that.
see the wheels
I
turning.
was about to say it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So our kind of, next chapter. This one is so big and like I don't even know if we want to get all that into it because
No, I was gonna say, I think getting into this, maybe
this
just
is
go
like a
watch.
different episode.
It's like I mean, we got like 80 years that we're trying to cover in like an hour.
Right.
Most of this I say go listen to the Lisa Marie episode, and I think maybe it overlaps a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I
This
I
is
think
like
that's it.
I'm not gonna give my opinions on the matter in this
No,
one,
but I
so we
think
can
like
get
the
through
only
it.
thing that we'll just like breeze over it, like Life After Elvis, like speed round.
Okay.
Obviously. Okay, so Elvis passes away in
Mm-hmm.
1977. Vernon then passed away in 1979. We have Minnie Mae
Mm-hmm.
passed away in 1980. And Priscilla becomes like she's in charge of the trust. I'm really gonna speed round this.
Yes, I
Okay.
love it.
Okay. She's in charge of the trust of Graceland. Vernon had told her, and since softly as I leave you, that you know what, I'm handing Graceland over to you. You're in charge. She was just in charge of the trust. She did not inherit Graceland. And that just meant that she's in charge of managing it for Lisa Marie.
Mm-hmm.
With that, she's overseeing the finances, looking at everything, and decides, okay, we got to open the Graceland to the public because they're like, you're running out of money. It's either you do that or you sell it. And she's like, no, 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 no. We'll open it to the public. She does that, becomes a major tourist attraction. We're really going through this.
I love it.
Thank you. So that's happening. She's managing Graceland. She's becoming a businesswoman. She also has like an acting career, blah, 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 blah. She does a couple things. Dallas, Naked Gun.
Naked Gun. Yeah.
Shout out to Diane. That's her favorite. Those Amazing Animals. She loves animals.
Mm-hmm.
We're really speed rounding this.
Good.
And she's done a
I
lot of
got
like
places to
Elvis.
be.
I know. And I think most of this is like modern day. So everybody's modern day Elvis fans are caught up in what's going down. She's done
Right.
things like Agent Elvis. She's done The Searcher.
She
She's
worked
part
on that Philharmonic project.
the Philharmonic Project, bunch of other things. The stamps, I will say, the stamps, there's a lot of detail about the stamps. If you
Yes.
watched our Good Luck Charms conversation, you'll know that.
Yes.
Um, it was a lot. But anywho, and a lot of this, like throughout Life After Elvis, like there's always like a struggle dynamic between Lisa and Priscilla. And I think just go watch the Lisa episode because I think
Yeah.
we'll cover more of that.
Yes.
Obviously they're trying to like figure out life after Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
She's putting Lisa in like all these boarding schools. I think if you're looking at it from like a parent's perspective, not from Lisa's perspective, she was probably struggling as a mother. Like, I don't know what to do. I think they just definitely had personality clashes. And
Yeah,
then
for
just the
sure.
personalities were not working out and it just didn't give to a good situation. That I feel like sometimes that just
Uh,
happens with people.
we also discussed this more on the Good Luck Charmers page on the
Yeah, so
Softly as I
also
Leave You
just
episode
go watch
to
that.
get
We're
my
just
hot takes. To get my hot takes. I
yes.
mean, this is like this. We could talk about Lisa and Priscilla for like
No,
hours. Like I have so much to say
hours.
about it, but this is maybe
We
not the moment. So
no,
we're doing an
so
overview of Priscilla's life.
exactly.
Um, So
Go
definitely
watch.
take a listen to those episodes because we
Mhm.
have hot takes and you'll hear them.
Yes. So
But
Lisa's episode that we did, and then the Good Luck Charms about Priscilla's new book. That will sum
right.
it all up. I did have to talk
And
about this one.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to talk about Scientology. We love to
Oh
talk about
Lord.
Scientology because this
Yes.
was always like, this is new information to me while we were trying to do some research.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the Ladies' Home Journal of 1973, so that
Mm-hmm.
initial article. And as far back as 1973, Priscilla was apparently talking about the religion of science. Um, she said in the article, so it says Priscilla takes pride saying that she has enrolled her daughter in a very exclusive academy where they speak French, and she's only 5. I've also been thinking about giving Lisa some religious background and have been considering the religion of science. Have you heard anything about it? I really don't know that much about the church, but I plan to look into it. I want to see for myself if I like it. She pauses. I want Lisa to have a religious foundation, and I feel that I need it too. I was raised as a Catholic, but I don't really believe that that is the way for me. I think that everyone needs some kind of support though, and I would like to get into something different, a more realistic religion. I just found that interesting.
1973.
Because I find it interesting because it seems like they didn't get into Scientology till after Elvis had passed. She famously said like John Travolta kind of like introduced her to that. And Elvis to Larry Geller, and Larry Geller's book said that Elvis was not a fan of Scientology.
That was like one thing he was not about to investigate.
Yeah. So. And so I just find that really interesting that, I mean, Elvis is still alive in 1973. This is like right after their divorce, or getting ready to divorce. And she started talking about it. I just find it interesting.
Definitely. So kind of moving on with some later years and legacy, I think. So Priscilla works with PPE now, or did. There's some tea there, maybe. So she supports a lot of different projects there, did support, helped open Graceland, of course. And truly without Priscilla and her opening steps to open Graceland, like at the beginning, I don't think we would have the legacy of Elvis that we have today, the availability of, all the archives and all the stuff. And I think she's incredibly important in preserving Elvis's legacy, and has been a central figure of it. She is, of course, still alive. And so she's able to kind of control this narrative a little bit more now. I'll say not always for good, not always, the Priscilla movie, like, it's not great, that kind of stuff. But, whether you like her or not, she's super important in the Elvis story and in preserving the Elvis legacy. In a way that I think sometimes it's overlooked. Elvis would have been Elvis. Of course, we all still would have loved him, and his impact would have been dwarfed without Priscilla, but she was definitely a huge part of keeping in the public eye.
Absolutely.
After his passing, for sure.
And I will say, so as of recording this last night, I did go to like one of her events. Like she does like an evening with Priscilla, and she like talks about her life, goes through some clips. And to that, what you said is there was a clip that they showed, and it featured like Jack Soden, and he was talking about like Priscilla opening Graceland to the public. And he specifically mentioned, Priscilla was in charge of the trust. So whatever she did before Lisa was 25, yeah, was kind of like the inheritance that Lisa was going to get. Right. And Jack Soden was like, Priscilla, she could have sold Graceland as is with all the furniture and everything inside of it. She could have sold off all of Elvis's, all the memorabilia, all his personal artifacts, which is basically what makes up Graceland today, and just handed Lisa over the finances. Like, here's all the money we have, and just put it in a bank account. These are the proceeds from everything we sold. But all that she would have at the end of the day would be the money, maybe some stocks and bonds, and just a portfolio. She wouldn't have anything left of Elvis's world. And to that, I feel like we should applaud, because then even for us, like, yes, it was really nice for Lisa to have all those things, but for us as Elvis fans, like, we get to go and we get to see like Elvis's things, and all his jumpsuits weren't auctioned off, so we can go and see and twirl around in the jumpsuit room and take pretty pictures.
Of course, and also like appreciate Elvis. And I think if that stuff had been sold off, if she had allowed for that stuff to have been sold off, our experience of Elvis to this day would be so different. We wouldn't have all of those things that we are able to see, and all the new exhibits they're able to put out at Graceland. And without the stuff, where's like what's Elvis? Like, we can't
see him or feel.
Well, we can't see him or feel close to him
Yeah.
or experience, you can't see like the tear in his jumpsuit from, doing a move, or, the way his shoe is worn on one side because he would always dance on that foot. Like, you wouldn't be able to have that connection to the stuff
Yeah.
and to feel like a closeness to him if we didn't have those things available. And she made sure that those things were available. And I think it was kind of her duty as the person who was in charge to do that. And so we have to be grateful that she did. So,
wise words.
I definitely think that, Priscilla is a interesting character. In the story of Elvis, she's incredibly important, whether you love her or hate her, but she has had a huge impact on shaping the way we perceive and interact with his legacy to this day. And also, she was just a huge part of Elvis's life. And anyone who is a huge part of Elvis's life deserves to have their story told. And we deserve to be able to hear it, and to be able to also critique it. And if you put your story like that into the world, you have to be aware that people might have something to say about it. But
exactly.
Overall, her life has been crazy. I can't even imagine going through all of, like, she was part of Elvis's world for 20 years, nearly 20 years, and that's like half of his life. So
wow, I mean, I always think about in context, like when Elvis passed, like more than half of her life was spent with Elvis. But no, you're right. If you think about the time that Elvis spent with her, that was half of his life.
Right. And so you can't just discredit her because you don't like some of the things she's done. I don't like some of the things she's done, but that's half of Elvis's way too short life was spent with, her in his orbit. And so it's very important for us to talk about these people who had such profound shaping. And also, she has been without him for way longer than she was ever with him now. And so that's kind of an interesting perspective too, to put the lens on. She has to talk about all this because, she could talk about Naked Gun, but like, it's not people, that's not the burning question, that most people have. Exactly. And so, we have to understand that too, that like maybe she's forgetting some things or changing some things. I don't think, like, it's important to talk about her, whether you love her or hate her. So
exactly. And that's why, like, with this, we know, like we said, it was going to be, I think, a little bit controversial. We try to go right down the middle. That's why I feel like we included a few things from Elvis and me and talked about some of the things that she said, but I think most of our evidence, primary and secondary, came from other people, so we could get more of the outside perspective of from the people who were closest to both Elvis and Priscilla at the time.
Absolutely.
So
that's that.
Yeah.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Chronicles of the King podcast.
If you love what you heard, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps bring the King's story to life.
You can follow us on social media at the Chronicles of the King for updates, upcoming series, and more. We'd love to hear your input and any of your favorite Elvis moments.
Until next time, keep rocking and rolling, and we'll be back soon with more stories from Elvis's extraordinary life.
With TLC, we'll see you on the next episode of the Chronicles of the King.